good morning. I'm Captain Jeremy Holcomb
Captain Hunter Norris.
with Legendary Marine, and we're here to do a quick tutorial in our trip over to the Blue Angels this Saturday morning. So we're going to have two different schedules leaving out. Trevor Hardy will be leaving around noontime on Friday with the overnight boats, and then I will be leading the morning crew heading out sharply 7 a.m. from Legendary Marina here at Mid-Bay. Anyone else will be traveling from the Fort Walton Beach area, be prepared to meet us at the Brooks Bridge Marina somewhere around 7:45 a.m. We'll make our way through the Intercoastal Waterway. We'll try to stay together as a bunch, but if you've been before, you'll know that there's just a ton of traffic, a lot of wake, and we want to make sure you guys stay safe. So use your own discretion as you travel through the markers. If you have any questions on the markers, make sure that you spend time looking at your charts, knowing ahead before you go. Something I should have probably prefaced this with is that we will be having a captain's party / safety event that Friday evening, the night prior to leaving. And we're going to go into this a little bit deeper. We're going to actually walk through those markers and maybe work through some of the things we're going to talk about in this tutorial as well. As you're heading over again through the ICW, remember green's going to be on your Gulf side. That's probably the most important thing you can remember. Green markers are going to be on the Gulf side, and your red markers are going to be over on the landmass side, so to your north essentially. When you make your way over to Pensacola Beach, you'll have Pensacola Beach Bridge in sight, and you will remember these coordinates posted on the screen below. After that, you're going to want to start looking towards Pensacola Beach. You'll see a multicolored hotel. If you want to Google it, it's the Holiday Inn on Pensacola Beach. It's blue and yellow, multicolored. You can't miss it. At that point, you can either look for your coordinates, latitude and longitude, or you can simply look for the giant legendary flags and banners up close to the beach. As you make your way in, you'll look for the flags, banners, and slowly approach in towards the sandbar. You can't miss it. If you don't have polarized glasses, make sure those are handy at least for your venture in to see your way close to the sandbar. Monitor the tides as well for that day. If we're coming in at low tide, just remember, it's going to come up, but it's got to come back down again. We'll talk about that more on Friday night as well. As you come in to tie up to the other boats, you want to minimize your rafting to a maximum of 6 boats. Something you also need to take into consideration is the type of boat you're in. So for example, we're on a hybrid Everglades right now, tied to a larger Chris craft. So our gunnels are off by quite a bit. Fendering is going to be crucial. So if you can find a boat that gunnels are near level to one another, it's going to be a lot friendlier during the day. It's pretty much unspoken to run no wake all through that area, but we do see just a ton of chop through the day. A lot of people don't know any better. You've got wave runners running through there, so even a 6-inch variation in chop can cause the boat to go up and down pretty hard. That's why it's so important that you listen to this next part. That's tying up, having the proper equipment to fender, and making sure that your lines are tight. If you're on anchor station, that you do have enough scope out. Captain Hunter's going to talk to you about that here in just a moment.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go over some fendering, ground tackle, which is all your windlass, your anchoring system, and your approach to the vessels when you come in. As Jeremy said before, try to tie up to people with the same gunnel height. This is a 23-foot boat that we're simulating tying up to a 35-foot boat. The gunnel heights are a little bit different, so it can make for a little bit more of a tricky tie. But before approaching the vessel, you want to make sure that you have fenders out. Now, this is a 6-inch fender. The recommended for an event like this is 8-inch or bigger. If you do not have those, our parts department here will have them, or West Marine, if we run out, will have those. So pick up fenders and lines. So as you're approaching the vessel, you want to go ahead and make sure you hang your fender over. We always work from the stern forward. We're going to go ahead and tie our fender. Get it nice and tight. Now this is all depending on the sizes of boats that you're tying up to, but we'll go ahead and tie that fender off. Once you get that fender tied off, you're going to make your approach to the vessel. The key is to have your 2 cleats on the stern line up every time. So we would pull ourselves really nice and tight, get this line tight, get the fender squished in there. If you have the fender too low, it's going to float in the water. It's not going to do anything for you. If you have it too high, you have the possibility, as Jeremy was talking before, there's going to be a lot of chop out there, that fender could pop out. So just keep an eye on your fenders. You might have to adjust it a little bit when you're out there. But get that stern line in, bring it in nice and tight as you can, and get everything secured. Now, if you have bigger lines and everything like that, and you're not tying, you don't have enough room to your cleat to tie your fender, what you can do is a clove hitch. Now, if you guys, again, we suggest you come Friday night. I'll be there, myself, Jeremy, we'll go over some knots that you can learn, but you can always tie a clove hitch to your railing. That will free up your cleat space a little bit more. So that's a knot. If you're not going to make it, go look it up. It's a great knot to tie, and it'll secure right on your railing. So we're going to talk about anchoring up now. So when you get out there, the depths are going to be from 3 to 9 foot. Normal standards is 7-to-1 ratio on your anchoring, but we're going to go ahead and increase that to 10-to-1 ratio. So for every foot of water you're in, we want to see 10 foot of line out. So 3 foot of water, 30 foot of line, 6, 60, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, there's multiple ways. A lot of you might have a windlass system like here, or you might have a ground anchor that's done by hand. So we're going to go into that. So when you get there, remember, if you're going to be parked next to your friend, you want to go 60 foot forward if you were in 6 foot of water, 30 foot forward if you're in 3 foot of water, drop your anchor, and then ease back to the boat you intend to side tie to. Once you're back and you get everything tied up, please don't forget, everybody tie your windlass line off to the cleat, as shown here, and let that work. Don't put all your pressure on your windlass. Check your anchor. When you anchor up, always get a reference point, look to the shoreline, find a hotel, sit in the same spot, a tree, it could be anything. Make sure you're not drifting. For the anchoring, like Jeremy said, we're only doing 6 boats. 2 outsides need to have an anchor, and the center needs to have an anchor. The other boats are not required to have an anchor, and that should hold you guys just fine. When you're going to leave, untie your line. Now, when you start to bring it up, bump the motor forward. If it's not working, you have a tool in your boat. This is your windlass tool. Your clutch might be loose. So if your line's not coming up, tighten that clutch down, and then it should start to bring your line in.
Okay.
At the end of the day, once you got your line and anchor up, don't forget your safety chain.
All right, guys, something else we want to talk about before we close here is departing the actual event. So there's going to be so many boats going in so many different directions. It may not be a bad idea for us to allow some of the boats to depart, make their way back to the east and the west down the ICW before we pull our anchors. May make it a little bit longer and wait, but it'll save us a lot of headache and trauma inside the wake on the way back to Destin or to the marina. So as we do leave, we need to keep in mind as we're 6 tight, we want to let the outside boats leave first, of course. Never fail, somebody in the middle needs to leave. We're just going to have to be patient. So maybe consider that ahead of time. The outside boats will untie and depart slowly and safely away from everyone else, get right back in formation. And then I'll just remind you to watch other boats' wakes. Remember, there's 50, 60, 70 footers that are running, 25 to 30 knots through the ICW. So be mindful of the wake and the safety of your crew on board. Woo!